Well, good morning, guys, and welcome back to Winding and Racing. Yesterday, I would have normally done a video with me working on a project like Rallybug, but there was a yard sale that was all about VWs. It was an incredible yard. I mean, they had everything imaginable. And so I spent a good portion of the morning there looking for stuff for Rallybug. And what I came up with, well, starting at the back here, you might notice there's a bumper there. Picked up this bumper for like $5. This portion of the back of the body is lacking the latch for, well, the latch is on the door, but where the latch connects, hopefully this here, I'm gonna make this work. It looks like somebody tried to do something there, but it's actually missing all this that is right there. So I saw this piece laying in the yard. It's like, well, I think I need that. So went ahead and picked that up. On the back hood, I didn't have the license plate mount, so they had lots of those there. Went ahead and picked that up. We come around to the front and look at this bumper. I absolutely fell in love with that bumper. I'm gonna have to do some work somehow to that hood. Gonna have to cut it and make some mounts. But instead of fabricating a new bumper, I'm gonna put that up there. That is absolutely gorgeous. So, a couple other things I found. I had no motor, any of the mechanics for the wipers. Now, what I discovered once I got home, besides the motor working, I ran some juice to it, this all works fine, but I have a feeling this was maybe from a bus, because it's too wide there. So it's going to take a little fabrication of the mounting and the linkages there, but I will get that working. I had no rear view mirrors for Rallybug. Found these matching ones. This one is broken here. I'll have to have a glass place. Go ahead and cut a mirror out so I can fit it in there, somehow glue it in there. Looks like they just glue it. I couldn't pass this up. I have no idea what this is for, this puller, but if I ever need to pull anything big, I'm gonna have it. Got a various types of vice grips here. These are the typical ones. This is good for clamping and fabricating. If you need to clamp pipes, rotate pipes, this guy here. And if you guys watch me build the box, the glove box, you know, I ran to Harbor Freight to get one of these tools, but it was too wide and I had to do the other portions with channel locks. Well, this is what I had in mind when I was actually working. Now, another thing I picked up was the speedometer cable, because there's no speedometer. The speedometer I put in there, but the cable was non-existent. So now I got a speedometer cable, and I needed this bearing cap with the little square hole. I was trying to figure out how I'm going to make a square hole into a regular bearing cap, and happened to have found that. Now, during the week, I was working on Rallybug. One problem that I had with Rallybug was it wasn't running good. Especially when I was out driving it under load. You step on the gas and just, it's a dead spot. It popping out of the exhaust, everything. And everything that I read on and looked at on YouTube, other videos and stuff like that, everyone said, well, it's the idle jet is clogged. And I'm like, well, okay, but this was a brand new carburetor. It was a Chinese clone, and some people said, well, you got a 50-50 chance whether it's going to be a good carburetor or not when you go that route. Well, so I came across this one video that really explained how to clean things properly. I got this other Weber here to look at, and down inside there I don't know if you can see them on camera, but there is 4 tiny holes that feeds that mid-range. As soon as you open up the butterflies, that's where it starts drawing fuel from. And if those get clogged up, then you're going to have the same issues that I described. So the way to clean this is from reverse. Basically, you take all these needle jets out and all this apart, and basically force air through carburetor cleaner and air in reverse to blow all the passages clean. And so I went to Harbor Freight. I got this guy. This guy just blows air like you wouldn't believe. And I'm like, well, I'm going to get this thing running. So, and another thing that I discovered in taking Rallybug's carburetor apart was that the floats were set too high. Way too much gas was getting into the flow bowls. I pulled the emulsion tubes out, and I mean, fuel was all the way to the top of them. So they're supposed to be mixing air and fuel together there, and it was just totally saturated. Gasoline all the way to the top. And as you can see, so not only did I have the problem with the mid-range, no fuel getting in through those 4 tiny holes, but then you open it way up and it would fall flat on its face, and it's because it was just dumping fuel. So I took carburetor apart, cleaned it all up, and put a new set of spark plugs in it. And I tell you what, Rallybug is an absolute ripper now. I mean, I drove it around the neighborhood, and you know, when things are running good, you get a little bit happy and you go a little bit too fast. And by the time I got to the end of the block here, I was glad my brakes were working properly, because yeah, I would have ended up in someone's living room if they weren't. So anyways, Rallybug is running great, but there's one little problem, and that is in the shifting. And basically, first gear is fine. Go down to drop into second, and it wouldn't hit second. I would actually have to, now I got one of these Hurst shifters, similar to her shifter, but you got to pick that up to get over to reverse. Yeah. Well, so I was having to pick this up and find second. Well, you know, at 30 miles an hour, that's awfully sketchy, because you don't want to hit reverse and screw up your transaxle. So what I discovered was I got an awful lot of play down in here in the bushing there, which I put that in gear so I couldn't move it. So you can see, I mean, even by hand, there's an awful lot of play in there. So I ended up getting a brand new coupler, and I'm going to play with that today to make sure that gets good and tight there, because I want to be able to bang gears while I'm driving it, since the motor now is running so good. So another thing that happened yesterday, which is very exciting, besides all that I got for Rallybug, was we picked this gem up. This was sitting in their yard. They were trying to clean this yard up, so they gave me a deal I couldn't pass up. 1968 Volkswagen Bug, and I tell you what, this thing is just absolutely clean. There are, I think I found a dent somewhere, but I mean, yeah, right in here. But this body is just in perfect shape, and it is complete. Obviously it needs some upholstery. I mean, down to the original jack for changing the tire. This thing has everything in it. Now 68, it's the swing axle, which is fine, because we're just gonna keep it basically stock. We're gonna end up restoring this just to be a beautiful classic gem. And so we are real happy to have found this. And that's gonna be another project. Like, we need more, but I wasn't gonna pass that up. So anyways, for today, I want this thing, Rallybug, to be shifting gears right, which is gonna entail, I gotta pull the seats out. And before I do that, when I mounted the seats, I just tacked this side. I don't know if you guys saw the video. On that side, that seat's a little tweaked. So since I had to put some pressure on it to straighten it out, I welded that one complete. But this side's just tacked. I'm going to take these seats out. I have a piece of aluminum for a firewall here. I'm going to take that down. So finish welding the seats, put the aluminum in. But when the seats are out, then I will be able to get to the coupler there, which I either need to replace or I don't know what I'm in store for there. The tube, possibly the hole is oval instead of round. I don't know, but there is slack there, and I got to get that taken care of because I definitely want to be able to bang the gears in Rallybug. And then it'll be another day that I mount these bumpers, because that's a whole another project. So I'm gonna get to work, and I'll bring you guys back once I get the seats out and see what I got to do with that that shifting mechanism. Because yeah, you got to be able to shift gears. Anyways, I'll see you guys in a little bit after I get some work done. Well guys, a little update on what work was taking place today. I got the seats out of here, and this is where the parking brake was originally. And I don't know if any of you have ever done any cutting or welding on this steel that comes from Germany, but I tell you what, because it was all busted up, I took a cutting torch to it, tried to do a knee job on it, and it just massacred the steel there. Looked real ugly, so I went ahead and I did a nice little cut job there. And what I'm going to be doing, for one thing, the whole shifting problem I can't take care of today, because there is a bushing on the inside there that this shift tube, let me see where the shift tube is. The shift tube, right on, that's the bushing right there. And you see, I mean, this is just a disaster there. So if that bushing is messed up, you're not going to get all the action that the shifter puts through the tube back to the transaxle. Now, this is the pin that goes through the urethane bushings to go ahead and work back and forth. It goes back and forth, and it goes side to side. Now, this is a little loose there. And I was thinking, well, I'd never really liked these. This here, I mean, they have this lag screw that goes into there that has a slit in it, and the whole idea is to expand it, and you know, that's just kind of a jerry-rig operation right there. So what I'm going to do is, this hole is obviously elongated and doesn't fit very well. I'm going to go ahead and drill a hole there, whatever size it ends up being, maybe 3/8, and just run a bolt through the urethane bushings and tighten it up that way, and there won't be any slack in it at all. But until I get the bushing replaced, and hopefully I can find one in town tomorrow, then get that all nice and tight for the shifting operation. But one problem has always been access into these tunnels here. Now, I made that big enough that I can get in there and make sure that bushing's in there good. I pulled the seats out, and I'd mentioned in a video of the past that I'm going to put a piece of aluminum between the driving section and the gas tank there. So, and I got a couple of, see, the pan is lacking some pieces down there. I'm going to go ahead and button that up with some aluminum plate too. But I want to get this cut today and fitted right. But another thing is, I started welding with my welder, and you can see that it's on there. Nothing. So a couple of videos back, I had a little bit of trouble with this stinger, and I had to take it all apart. And one thing that, you know, came apart and I had to put back together was the trigger. And I'm just feeling that something there is not right. So wasn't able to do any welding today. But one very good thing that happened, and that actually took some work too, which I'll explain. I mentioned this morning that I got a speedometer cable. And so here's the new speedometer cable. This was an old speedometer that I had. Didn't know if it worked or not, but let's get this thing up to speed. And look at that, guys. I was able to turn that 12 miles an hour. So speedometer is working, but let's go ahead and stop that. This bearing cap I had was too big for the hub, so I had to make these little cuts, and I smashed it down so it fits nice and tight now. When I get my welder back working again, I'll go ahead and tack those and clean those up so it actually fits. So bottom line is, shifting's not getting done today. Speedometer works. No welding today, but I'm going to go ahead and finish cutting up that aluminum, get that in place. And I was going to weld tabs that I could shoot screws through, but at least I'll get that. All right, guys, well, even with the bits of problems that we had, welder not working, and the whole shifting apparatus needing parts, that's the main thing there. I was able to get some stuff done. So we did get the shifting tube out. It's funny with these Volkswagens, you gotta take that little panel off of the front of the tube there, pull it all the way out. And you saw how I cut that hole in the tunnel there, so I'll have access. I'll be able to get that bushing in and mount that up. Hopefully I can find that part tomorrow, and I'll be shifting gears tomorrow. One thing I did over the week was I put this little latch here. This door didn't have a way to hold it open, but so that's out of the way. But what I still have to do is I'm going to make a handle out of this diamond plate material, because right now I got to reach in there and it's kind of sketchy. I don't want to hurt my finger in there. But as you can see down here, I got that aluminum plate cut and mounted behind the seats there, so it isolates the driving compartment from the whole engine, tranny, gasoline, all that, battery, everything's towards the back, and the driving compartment is all by itself. Now the next big job I'm going to be doing is, I got the screws for the doors, but I do have to use a tap and clean the threads out. But if you take a close look, the body is cracked right in there. So I'm going to take some 16 gauge sheet metal and cut little plates, and they do have to be, you see here, cracking. It's all rust right here. So I got to replace that metal, but also these holes are elongated so we can adjust the doors. So that's going to be a little task I have to do, and then I'm going to weld that in there. Now the hinge has got to be able to slide in there, so I'll only be able to weld on 3 sides there, but that will hold the doors more secure. And we saw the bumper there. That is a very cool looking bumper. I can't wait to get that mounted on the front. This one here is the bumper that fits this model. So it's just a matter of, I guess it'll be from up and underneath there, but I got to shoot some bolts. There it is there, and you can see the bolt holes. So that's going to be real easy to mount that. Still got to do a little fabrication work to put the latch catch thing there. I picked that up from that swap meet yesterday, so hopefully that'll all work. And now we can wire up the back license plate light, because I ended up finding those. So still lots of work to do. Today was kind of a bummer that the welder broke down, because I wanted to get some welding done. I was able to weld this side of the seat mounts, but there was still more to do. You can see that aluminum panel back there. So, and the speedometer works. That's kind of a cool item there. So that's it on Rallybug. We all saw this. What an awesome find that was. Now we want to return these to chrome. For some reason someone painted those chrome eyelids red, so we'll return those to chrome. And even this red paint, if you just sand it lightly, it will bring some of the black patina out, because I'm really thinking that this thing just needs to be clear coated the way it is. That's kind of the look today. You see, just this fender has a little bit of dents there, a little bit down here, but this body is clean. That was an awesome find, and we can't wait to get to work on that. So thanks a lot for watching, guys. I know we didn't get as far as we wanted to, but we did get some stuff done. And yesterday, the swap meet, we got some good stuff for both Rallybug and this find here. So like and subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you on the next one. I'm gonna call it a day. You guys have a great rest of your day. Take care now.